Okay, I think we can start. Good morning and welcome everyone to the first joint meeting of the GPP2ADRION Transnational Network, one of the key activities of the project coordinated by the Forum of the Adriatic-Ionian Chambers of Commerce, co-funded by the Interreg IPA-Adrian program, and made possible thanks to the joint work and commitment of all our project partners across the region. My name is Deborah Molinaro, Communication Assistant for the GPP2ADRIAN project at the University of Padova, and I'll be moderating today's session. Before we begin, let me say that today is not just another webinar. It marks the beginning of the GPP2ADRIAN Transnational Network, a collaborative community bringing together GPP ambassadors, stakeholders, project partners, and future contact points from across the Adriatic-Ionian region. Our ambition is to create a space where participants can continue learning from one another, exchange practical experiences and good practices, and work together to strengthen the implementation of green public procurement across the region. We believe that this initiative comes at the right time. Public procurement plays a key role in supporting Europe's green transition, and green public procurement is increasingly recognized as an important tool for achieving more sustainable and circular economies. In a macro region like ours, where countries are facing many common challenges, we believe that cooperation and the exchange of practical experiences are essential to turning these ambitions into everyday practice. So we have around 90 minutes together, so let's make the most of it. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the common chat throughout the meeting. And at the end, we'll have a dedicated space for an open discussion and for live polling. So let's get started. To understand where this network is going, we first need to understand where it comes from. The project GPP2ADRIAN has, over the past months, carried out an extensive benchmark and gap analysis, run a full capacity building program, and engaged stakeholders across 7 countries: Italy, Greece, Slovenia, Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, and North Macedonia. So it's now my pleasure to hand over to Matilde Cavalli, PhD student at the University of Padova, our lead partner, who will walk us through these achievements and explain the rationale behind creating this network. So Matilde, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah, and good morning, everyone. I'm Matilde Cavalli, and together with Professor Alessandro Manzardo, we are the lead partner of GPP2ADRIAN project. Unfortunately, Professor Manzardo cannot be here due to academic commitment, but he greetings you all. So let me start with this. First of all, I want to warmly welcome you and thank you for joining us today. It's really a pleasure to see so many participants from different countries and different organizations participating to this first meeting of the Transnational Network. We are particularly pleasant to set the ground for this network with all of you, and we see this as much more of a project activity. As Deborah was saying, is an opportunity to create a community of professionals committed to advancing the green public procurement and supporting the transition towards a more sustainable and circular economy patterns across the Adrian region. During the past month, we've been working together to better understand the current state of the art of the green public procurement in the area with benchmark and gap analysis, with stakeholder engagement. But today we are going a step ahead and we are creating a network, actually a transnational network, to put together all the knowledge, the expertise, the support, the good practice, and continue to move beyond the project. We strongly believe that the collaboration is essential to address common challenges, And this network offers the opportunity to learn from each other and to exchange practice and to strengthen the cooperation, which is what the actually Interreg program is promoting. So once again, thank you for being here. Your participation is and expertise is essential for this network and for this collaboration. Now I will briefly introduce the GPP2ADRION project. So let me just share my screen. And so I hope that everyone sees.
Yes, we can see the presentation.
Okay, great. So today the topic is green public procurement, but not only like it is. We will talk about the knowledge and the awareness of the instrument. We will talk about how to disseminate and actually use this tool and creating a network, because only with the support of people and the collaboration we can really exchange our knowledge and raise our awareness regarding this very, very powerful instrument. So let's have a step
Halo,
back
čao. Samo sekundicu, imaš sa tim,
with
imaš više iskustva, ne uopšte.
Okay, thank you. Let's have a step back and understand briefly, just recap what GPP is and why it is so important. I think that everyone here really know the topic very well, but just to have a bit of a context, the GPP, so the Green Public Procurement, is a voluntary process through which the public authorities seek to purchase goods and services with a lower environmental impact compared to other with the same function, and a lower impact throughout the whole life cycle. But why it is so important? Because it's a positive loop. So the public authorities set an example of sustainable consumption and provide an incentive for buying more sustainable and stimulate the demand of green product, so the SMEs can provide this green product and we will move to a more sustainable production pattern. But what is important is that this is a key priority of the European Union, and it will actually become an obligation. So now it is a voluntary process, but it will be mandatory in the short future. GPP, it's not only an instrument that is isolated, but it's about the whole economy. It's about the demand. So it's about the public authorities that buy goods with a lower impact. It's about SMEs that provide goods with a lower impact, so a more sustainable production. It's about developing and stimulating the industrial innovation. It's about saving money and resources, considering all the life cycle cost. It's reducing the price of environmental technology and demonstrating this change in pattern with a more sustainable way of producing. So it's a whole world that can be kind of changed throughout this instrument. In this context, it raised up the GPP2ADRION project. This is an Interreg project. In a nutshell, we are 9 partners in the Ionic-Adriatic area. So we are from Italy, Slovenia, Montenegro, Bosnia, Serbia, and Greece. It's about a 3-year project, and we started in 2024. So we are in the second half of our journey. And the idea is to promote the adoption of GPP and actually overcome the barriers that hidden the transition towards a more circular economy. What are our core actions? So what are we doing? We are focusing on understanding how GPP is used and implemented. So understanding through a benchmark and a gap analysis. We try to understand what are the needs. And based on these needs, we provide support in terms of training, and then a practical support through contact points, so regional contact points, and through this transnational network that put the cooperation into practice. What have we found? So the first year we've performed this benchmark analysis and the gap analysis. We actually had a very specific method. So we had a starting point with a cabinet work. So we studied in each country of the project how the GPP2ADRION is applied and used. And then we really went to talk to people by stakeholder mapping and stakeholder engagement. Actually, we map about 170 stakeholders that we contact, and we've been in touch with them. Through interviews and through online survey, we collected 63 interviews throughout all the area and 133 participants of our survey. And with this, we really had an overview of the situation of the GPP application and knowledge. And here is what we found out. So the maturity of the GPP2ADRION instrument, it's highly inconsistent. So we can see that Italy ranks as the most advanced country because it's an obligation to have the GPP applied in Italy, but still there are many gaps in terms of practical application and knowledge and support. Then Slovenia and Greece are a kind of an intermediate level with some actions, but not really 100% implemented, while in the Western Balkans, GPP still appear at early stages. So there is much need of a support in terms of knowledge, instrument, tools, and a network. Actually, we can see that there is fragmented regulatory and institutional framework in each country. There is this kind of issue. There is a weak operational. This appears to be one of the biggest barrier to have operational support, limited monitoring, so we don't know how it is going and what are the needs, low supplier readiness, because when you have a low demand, then also the offer becomes weak, and then an awareness and engagement gap. So we can collect these in due to an absence of binding mandates, there is this fragmentation of the application of GPP with low demand and low supply, and a lack of really national points and a training support. So based on these results, what have we done? We decided to deliver specific training program to support the people to know better the GPP, but in a very practical way. And we developed concrete tools. And then we wanted to engage everyone and put everyone that is working with GPP from the demand side to the supplier side to put together and have this network. So starting with the training, we performed a first capacity building training, which was 6 workshops, 20 hours of training. It was we had a big participation of 60 participants throughout the area. And this course was really based on practical knowledge and give expertise to people to really perform the GPP into their work. And we qualified 42 GPP ambassadors. But then we ask ourselves, okay, after the training, how can we really support people throughout their work and after also the project activity? So how can we address this need of knowledge sharing and connection? Here it comes a first step in a national way to have regional GPP contact point, which means that in a specific country, we will start with Bosnia and Montenegro. There will be a launch of contact point, so hub of knowledge and expertise that will support at national level the GPP application and knowledge. But we wanted to go beyond the national boundaries. We wanted to put everyone in connection, and also since we have this different level of application throughout the Adrian region, we wanted to share this knowledge and share this best practice. So we moved beyond to this transnational network. So we put with these together the people from different countries with different knowledge and best practices. So with this, I will leave now the floor to Angela Placu from the Forum AIC that will introduce us to the transnational network with the great work they have been doing. So you can find us and we will keep you updated, but just to show, we have a website, we have a LinkedIn page, and you can also contact me. This is our project. Thank you very much for being here and for the attention of today.
Okay, thank you, Matilde. That was an excellent overview. What's striking is how much groundwork has already been laid. So from mapping national gaps to training a first generation of GPP ambassadors. This network, so isn't starting from zero, it's building on real tested experiences across the Adrian region. So now that we've seen why, let's move to the what. So I'm delighted to introduce Angela Placu, Communication Officer at the Forum of the Adriatic-Ionian Chambers of Commerce, who will present the network itself, its objectives, the benefits it offers to members, its structure, and how you can actively take part. So Angela, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deborah, for your introduction. And good morning, everyone, and welcome. First of all, thank all of you for joining us today for this very first joint meeting of the GPP2ADRION Transnational Network. My name is Angela Placu, and I'm the Communication Officer of the Forum of the Adriatic-Ionian Chambers of Commerce. And today I have the pleasure of introducing the transnational network that we have been building together throughout the GPP2ADRION project. Our network represents a vibrant community and collaboration across borders, where we actually aim to foster sustainable procurement and share insights for the greater good. So as we dive into today's agenda, please remember that your participation is crucial. This is your platform to connect, share, and grow together. So let's make the most of our time, and I'm looking forward to all the inspiring discussions and ideas that will emerge from this meeting. So thank you all for being here. And now allow me to share my screen to show you the presentation. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes, we can see your presentation.
Thank you. So, firstly, before talking about the network itself, I think it's important to look at what we have already achieved together, right? So over the past months, GPP2ADRION has created a very solid foundation across the Adriatic-Ionian region. We have carried out a benchmark and gap analysis, already explained earlier on by Matilde. And these were meant to better understand the different national contexts and identify the main challenges and opportunities related to green public procurement. So we have developed and successfully delivered a capacity building program that trained 42 GPP ambassadors, creating basically a first generation of professionals equipped with practical knowledge on sustainable public procurement. So today we are not starting from zero. We are building on this work and taking the next step, transforming knowledge into continuous cooperation. And the starting points we have include, as said earlier on, benchmarks and gaps analysis, focusing on the genuine needs and barriers within each country. So that ensures that our efforts are targeted and effective. We also had the full capacity building program, which has been delivered to empower our GPP ambassadors, providing them with the tools they need to succeed. And of course, we have also the listening component. So we have actively consulted the GPP ambassadors and stakeholders to understand their vision for the future. So this collaboration basically sets the stage for impactful next steps. So as we move forward, let's focus on harnessing this collective knowledge and expertise to make significant impacts across the region. So before designing the network, we actually wanted to understand what people actually needed. So we asked our GPP ambassadors and stakeholders what they would find most useful of the transnational network. And the answers were very clear. 64% of them wants to exchange practical experiences. So this underscores the desire for collaboration and learning from one another's real-world application. Whereas 73% would find shared tools and templates useful. This highlights the need for accessible resources to streamline the processes and enhance efficiency. Whereas 52% value learning about good practice. So our community is eager to understand and adopt proven strategies to improve their efforts. So these results confirm something very simple, that people do not need another theoretical platform. They need opportunities to learn from each other. Now, what is exactly the transnational GPP network? You can think of it as a place where professionals working on green public procurement from across the Adrian region can continue exchanging ideas, discussing challenges, and sharing practical solutions. The network is not about adding another layer of bureaucracy that we are probably tired of. It's more about leveraging the existing connections that we already have and the tools developed throughout the project. So the true beauty of the network lies in its function as a bridge, connecting the training phase to the actual implementation, ensuring that the valuable knowledge gained doesn't get lost or doesn't just remain theoretical, but it is actively put into practice. Therefore, the network can be seen as a facilitator, so enabling the continuous learning and the exchange of practical experiences. So this is where the solutions that have been tested and proven effective are shared, creating a ripple effect of innovation and improvement across the region. But who can join? Firstly, there is no fixed hierarchy within the network, so it's an inclusive space welcoming all those actively involved in GPP across the region. And now we can break down the roles. Firstly, we have our organization, Forum AIC, and we coordinate the network on behalf of our project partnership. And you can think of us as a sort of central hub, ensuring that everything runs smoothly. Then we have the project partners. These are the ones steering the activities and connecting the network to their respective countries, so they help localize our efforts. Next, we have the GPP contact points. So these are the trained national reference points that provide guidance and support within their countries. Of course, we have the GPP ambassadors that are instead the trained practitioners who are already active and making a difference on the ground. We also have the stakeholders. So that includes public and private actors, entities that have a stake in GPP. And of course, also European network, because we want to connect with wider initiatives, such as the European Circular Economy Stakeholder Platform, to broaden our impact and share their resources. So remember that the goal here is to create a community where everyone can contribute and benefit from the shared knowledge. Now let's move to your participation instead. So one aspect that I particularly want to emphasize is that participation in the network is intentionally flexible. There are no formal obligations. You can participate according to your availability and interest, of course. So there's also no obligation to contribute beyond your comfort level. So simply showing up or listening in on the meetings can be enriching. And of course, your presence is always appreciated. But next, you can also share. You can bring to the table a case study, a unique challenge, or a lesson you've learned, so that your insights could be the key to unlocking solutions for others in the network. You can also suggest. We highly value your ideas and on topics and formats that could be useful to others, right? So this is your chance to to step up and shape the future discussions and ensure that they're actually relevant and impactful to you. And don't forget to speak up. We encourage open communication about what's working and what isn't. So your feedback is essential for continuous improvement. Again, there's no formal commitment here. You can engage as much or as little as your schedule allows. The goal here is to keep the flow of knowledge and ideas going, making the most of our experience. But let's now move on to the benefits of why should you participate to the network. Firstly, because many of the challenges you face are shared by colleagues across the region. Many are facing the same challenges, the same issues as you, and they're more than willing to share their insights and compare notes, right? So this collective experience could be seen as a valuable resource that can make your journey more informed and smoother, of course. But what's more is that you can gain access to real-world experience. You learn from practical cases and lessons learned, not just abstract theory. So being part of this community means also that shared experiences are not just stories. They're tools you can apply in your day-to-day work. And also, in this slide, we're also highlighting the practical resources available to you as part of this network. We offer ready-to-use tools, such as templates, checklists, and guidance, and these are designed for real-world application in your procurement work. They're not just theoretical. Again, they're tools you can implement right away. And additionally, one of the key strengths of this network is in the flexibility in shaping our agenda. Your contributions are crucial. You have the opportunity to influence what topics and format come next. And this also ensures that our focus is beneficial to all involved. Ultimately, participating in this network means having access, right, to valuable resources and being part of a dynamic community that listens and adapts to its members' needs. Now, let's move on to our vision, which is basically quite simple. 1 year from now, success will not be measured by the number of meetings we organize. Success will mean seeing ideas, experience, and practical solutions moving naturally from one country to another. So firstly, we want to foster a community where more practitioners can learn from each other. By strengthening this connection, we provide a platform for sharing these insights and experiences that will enrich everyone's understanding. And second, our goal is to also facilitate the movement of tools and lessons across borders. So let's imagine a scenario where a solution is developed in one country that can be easily applied and replicated into another country. So that means making the procurement process more efficient and mostly sustainable throughout the region. And I mean, within a year, we envision a network where these exchanges are commonplace, leading to real procurement practices that not only support the local needs, which is of course needed, but also contribute to a more sustainable global approach. And this brings me to the final message, which is that the transnational network is more than just a temporary project activity. It's a dynamic community. We envision this community growing and thriving beyond the lifespan of the project itself. So that means fostering the connections and the collaborations that actually endure and create a sustainable network of professionals who continuously share the insights and the best practices. So it's about creating a legacy of shared knowledge and cooperation. Today's meeting basically is only the beginning. We hope that all of you actively contribute to shaping this community and making it a valuable space for collaboration, knowledge exchange, and innovation. And now I have the pleasure to hand over to my colleagues, Deborah Molinaro, Communication Assistant for the GPP2ADRION project from the University of Padova, and Alessio Niosi, project assistant for the Forumite, who will present the proposed roadmap of the transnational network and guide us through the activities planned for the coming months. Deborah and Alessio, the floor is yours, and thank you all for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Angela, for your insightful presentation. One message I'd like everyone to take away is that this network is something predefined. It will grow your ideas and your experience and your participation. I'll ask Angela to mute your microphone. Thank you. Today's meeting is just starting point of that journey. So now that we've introduced the network, let's look at what comes next. We can now move to the next part of today's meeting. That is a joint presentation between myself and Alessio Niosi, project assistant at the Forum of the Adriatic-Ionian Chambers of Commerce. So now I'll share our presentation. Okay. Okay, let me know if you can see the presentation. Okay, so in this part, we would like to start and take you from network activation to thematic exchange. In other words, we would like to show you what comes next. So how this transitional network can grow in practice and what kind of activities we are proposing for the coming months. This is not a sequence of meeting. It is a pathway built around exchange, practical learning, discussion, and progressive involvement. So the idea behind the roadmap that I'll show you is simple. If we want the network to be meaningful and useful for its members, it has to grow step by step through concrete opportunities to meet, share experiences, and reflect together on green public procurement in a real institutional context. So in the next few minutes, I will guide you through the roadmap, the thematic logic behind the proposed session, and some of the cases we would like to bring into the discussion. This session looks at what comes next, the roadmap, the thematic sessions, and the working formats that bring the network to life. So far, the project has already built a solid basis through analysis, capacity building, and stakeholder engagement. What we're doing now is moving from that foundation to a more operational and participatory phase. The goal is not simply to keep meeting, but to help the network grow as a community of practice, a space where participants can exchange experiences, react to concrete cases, and help shape future activities together. So this is why the next phase is built around three key dimensions: a roadmap, thematic sessions, and interactive working formats. Here you can see the roadmap for the months ahead. The transnational network begins today and is designed to grow progressively through a series of thematic meetings running from July 2026 to February 2027, leading towards the official launch of the network and then to a broader institutional projection in the framework of the 12th EUSAIR Forum in Trieste in May 2027. So today's meeting is the starting point. So the session 1 are our first joint meeting. In September, we plan session 2, which will open the thematic cycle. In November, session 3 will focus on best practice exchange. In February 2027, session 4 will take the form of an interactive laboratory. And in February, the session 5 will mark the official launch of the transnational network. Then the EUSAIR Forum in May 2027 will represent an important opportunity to present the results achieved and give broader visibility to the work developed through the network. What matters most is the logic behind this path. We want the network to grow through connecting moments, each one adding something to the previous one, so more trust, more exchange, more concrete input, and a clearer understanding of what members really need. This is also why our approach is progressive. The network will grow through a series of connected meetings, and each session will follow a simple and practical structure, so a concrete case, a moment of discussion, an exchange of experiences, and a space for feedback. We believe this matters because GPP rarely moves forward theory alone. Very often, progress comes when people can see how others have worked in practice. So, what challenges they faced, what choices they made, and what could realistically be adapted in other contexts. So, the aim is not simply to create informative sessions, but sessions that participants can genuinely use and build on in their own work. So this step-by-step method should allow the transnational network to evolve in line with the needs, expectation, and contribution of its members, rather than following a rigid top-down structure. Let's now look at the first thematic session we are proposing for September 2026. I'll also invite you to listen to this proposed case with interest, because later on we will ask for your feedback, including which cases and which formats you find most useful for the future development of the network. So the second section will open the thematic cycle of the transnational network and will focus on public building and energy efficiency with attention to GPP application in high impact procurement areas. So the idea is to bring in two practical and transferable examples that can help participants reflect on how environmental criteria are integrated into everyday procurement choices. The first proposed case is from the University of Padova and concerns the application of environmental criteria in public tenders for textiles and furnishing. What makes this example particularly interesting is that it can show very concretely how issues such as durability, reparability, and circular design can enter procurement choices, not in abstract terms, but in actual preparation of tendering procedures. It is also a useful example because it helps connect GPP with daily procurement practice in a way that is understandable, replicable, and immediately relevant for public institutions dealing with ordinary purchasing needs. The second proposed case is from the region of Western Greece. The region has highlighted a series of voluntary green procurement practices already used in its everyday purchasing activities. These include restriction on single-use plastic, the regular procurement of eco-labeled printing paper, and the inclusion of green specification in calls concerning printing and IT equipment. What makes this case especially valuable is that it can show how even relatively simple procurement choices can already introduce environmental consideration into routine administrative practice, and can therefore offer a realistic and accessible point of discussion for many public authorities. And this is precisely the approach we would like to follow in all the thematic sessions, bringing forward cases that are concrete, useful, and open enough to generate exchange. So moving forward, the third session is planned for November 2026 and will focus on furniture, IT, and CAM-related experiences, combining cases presentation and with peer discussion. Here again, the aim is not only to present examples, but to understand what makes them transferable across contexts. One of the proposed cases is Graspino and Graspino Plus, two projects developed in Greece with the University of Patras as a key reference point, which offer a particularly relevant perspective because they connect energy refurbishment, life cycle costing tools, and digital support for greener procurement processes. It is a case that can help us reflect on how technical tools and strategic procurement choices can work together in support of more sustainable purchasing decisions. It is also interesting because it shows how a structured support system including digital tools and practical guidance, can help public authorities move from general environmental intention to more operational procurement choices. Alongside with this, we are also considering the case of Novo Mesto linked to Novikrog project promoted by the municipality of Novo Mesto in Slovenia. This case brings in circular public procurement principles applied in public institutions with attention to reuse, recycling, secondary resources, and the strengthening of local material loops through everyday purchasing decision. It is a very useful example for the network because it connects circular procurement not only to environmental criteria, but also to territorial value chains and to broader question of how procurement can support local circular transition. So, this third meeting is meant to be a real peer exchange, a space where participants can react to the cases, compare them with their own realities, and discuss which elements might be adapted, replicated, or further explored within the network. The first session that is planned for January 2027 will take a slightly different form. Here, we're proposing an interactive laboratory focused on waste management and circular procurement. The objective is to move even more clearly from exchange to co-elaboration. In this session, participants would not only listen to a case, but work directly on practical procurement logic. On one hand, we are considering a step-by-step reflection on how environmental criteria can be integrated into a public tender, looking at concrete choices, barriers, and possible solutions. On the other hand, we would like to connect this to an operational case so that participants can see how tools, circular logic, and real tendering practice come together in an actual procurement context. The reason for proposing this format is simple. The network is not meant to remain a space of one-way presentation. It should also become a place where members can test ideas together, compare obstacles, and produce outputs that are actually usable. So with this first session, we would like to create a more hands-on moments that can feed directly into the next phase of the network. So now that the roadmap, that's the roadmap of the thematic session. Now I'll hand over to Alessio, who will tell you more about why we chose this interactive laboratory format, how the session actually work, and what's ahead of us as we move toward EUSAIR 2027. After this presentation, Alessio will introduce our live pool and the open discussion directly. So I'll step back for a few minutes and let him take it from here. So Alessio, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you so much, and thank you all to be here again. As the previous speaker said, this is not a simple session, but we want to present something that starts and dies today, but it's something that is going to be implemented in the future, and it will be done thanks to your effort, your input, and therefore, thank you to this methodology we have planned to implement for the meetings ahead. So why an interactive laboratory? We think that interaction is the core aspect of the innovation of this output of this network, because meets the needs of you, of the participants, of those who are interested, so the subjects interested in GPP and in exchanging, like the previous speaker said, exchanging good practices, so this exchange between mentors, those who have more experience, those who have case study to present. Therefore, the Transnational Network is not meant for a one-way presentation. This format helps all of you, the participants, to go from a listening to a co-elaboration phase. It means that you will be the participants, you will be the protagonists. It means that the methodology will imply identifying the solutions for your problems. For example, those you encounter in your daily life, in your work daily life, while having, for example, related to public procurement, related to if you're an SME or you provide any goods or services, for example, your interaction with public authorities. So at the very end, the interactive laboratory aims is to create a concrete output you will bring home, and it will be useful and usable for you in your, again, in your daily life. So from the first step, learning from practice, learning from a real case, to comparing the barriers maybe you encounter. For example, among the networks, you encounter different barriers that can overcome with common solutions. We will discuss about it. You will discuss about it, and you will participate actively in this process. And then you bring home, as we said, shared and real usable output. Next slide, please, Deb. So the methodology is not meant as frontal teaching. It's not meant as a frontal teaching. Even nevertheless, of course, the speaker and the experts will introduce the thematic session. So the thematic introduction will occur, and then the best practice real procurement case will be discussed and will be presented. But it will switch immediately with a peer discussion. I mean, again, your participation, your feedback, your contribution. And the goal is to, again, identify the barriers you encounter in daily life. So the barriers that create a challenge that could be solved with common solutions through discussion with the experts and those who have already overcome such challenges. This is the reason why at the end of the session, there will be a Q&A. So you will have the chance, for example, to make questions, to ask questions, whatever question comes to your mind, to the experts, to the speaker, so that to, for example, present, okay, how can I solve the problem I encountered in one occasion, starting from this case study. So it will be, like we stated, a breakout moment, and it will help shape and consolidate even the collaboration within the transnational network. Next slide, please. So, identifying the cycle of the meetings, we stated that the last one is foreseen in May, and in occasion of the EUSAIR forum in 2027, it will take place in Italy, in Trieste. We conceived the Transnational Network as a group of meetings with, like my colleague Deb said, specific thematics, specific aims, but we can say that the wrap-up session, for example, after all the meetings, after the presentation of the best practices, after the interactive laboratory, the wrap-up meeting with the official launch will take place in January. Will take place between January and February, to be confirmed yet, but this is the period where officially the transnational network will be implemented and will exist, will start existing with the feedback, your feedback, with the actions we carry on together, and therefore even with the results. But what to do with all of this work done? We think this is a perfect occasion, there's a forum in 2027 in Trieste, to present our results, to present our community, to showcase what we've done, what we have created together, and therefore to strengthen the community itself. But what's the aim of this, or all of this? Of course, it's not just to present ourselves as, yeah, we're good at it, or we did a good job. No, it's to enhance the community. It's to, for example, predict more participants, more stakeholders to be involved, more, for example, enterprises that could be interested in knowing more and interacting more with public authorities or those in charge of procurement, to be more aware of how public tender works, starting from the toolkit, starting from the interactive laboratory, so the output we plan to create in that occasion. So this is even, we conceive the transnational network as an output that could be capitalized for future projects, for future perspectives. So that could be useful to do something beyond this exact project and aim at creating something else, something new within the transnational network. So starting from this, conceived as an output. Next slide, please. So now we are reaching the final stage, one of the most important of the session, that is of course the collection of feedbacks and the active interaction with you, the participants. So thank you again for being still here with us. And right now we're going to address, for example, and going deeper, analyzing the topics we discussed, asking you question about, for example, did you like it? You didn't like, why? If it is actually useful for you, because all of this is meant to be like a tool for us, a way for us to fix the problems if there are problems, and to better shape something that could be exactly useful for you and useful for your for the community. So this is the QR code. We kindly ask you please to scan the QR codes. We give you a few moments to do that. And the interactive session would be a cluster of questions, open questions. For example, we will ask you to rank among the topics, for example, we have presented, and to discuss about certain details we covered in these presentations, and so for the transnational network. Do not hesitate to interrupt me whenever you need a clarification or if a question is not that clear. And do not forget that the session will be wrapped up at the end, so we will send you an email where all of this and even the results of this interactive session we're going to have. So with all the results, and you can exploit this occasion to answer, sharing whatever are your thoughts or whatever you didn't have the possibility to share with us during the interactive session, maybe for time concerns. So, Deb, please stop sharing so I can start sharing my screen.
Of course.
Thank you. Okay, do you see it? Not yet.
Yes, we see it.
Perfect, perfect. If you didn't scan yet the QR code, you see it in every single slide. So don't worry if you missed before, it's over there. Okay, great. You start just answering. So the first question is, does the proposed approach of the transnational network meet your expectations? The overall approach, so not thematic session and single sessions, but the overall approach we presented in the transnational network. Right, so far we did good. I give you more moments. All right, so far, okay. Thank you, we did good again. Okay. Your expectations, I mean, don't be shy if you want to answer partially, because maybe you think could be implemented something, or you think something could be done better, or no, if you didn't like it. All right, good.
Also, Alessio, if I may jump in, partially as answer is encourage, as we are here also to collect feedback from you, because we want to tailor this network for you. So feel free to add inputs and feedbacks.
Everything is welcome in terms of feedback, even the negative ones, because as Matilde said, we are in the right time to solve all the problems. Okay, I think we can move on. What do you think? Okay, all right, let's go. If you answer no or partially, please tell us why. If you think something could be implemented, could be done better, please do not hesitate to tell us why. This is an open question, so take your time and share your thoughts with us. Again, this is very useful so that for the next meetings, everything will be done for you, but according to your needs. Okay, the majority answered yes, so it makes sense. If none of you want to answer, all right. More interactive laboratory. All right, that's interesting. That's interesting. So the overall approach is fine. After a few case studies and examples, it will be possible to comment more. Of course, more best practice, absolutely. Think of the transnational network, as my colleague said, it's something that starts existing today, but will continue existing in the future. It means that if it is possible to organize, to have a confrontation with experts, you will have also a little spoiler. You will know each other, you will have the context from each other, so you will have the possibility to interact with each other, so you will have even the possibility, we will have the possibility to meet once again, even after, and having new sessions, according to, of course, the limits of everyone's schedule. In countries where GPP is not obligatory, more experiences. Okay, and this is very interesting because it opens to one of the next questions we'll see about where the best practices could come from. So I think we can move on. Perfect, thank you for your replies. No, still something. Valuable tool to support public administrations. Thanks. Thanks to you for replying, great. All right, so something that could directly support public administrations. Okay, great. Case studies followed by discussion, how to transfer it to individual country. Okay, so we will conceive it as a one-to-one experience. So from the best case, from the case study to the single country case. Okay, it could be interesting. Networking among GPP ambassadors themselves. Absolutely. You will have actually the opportunity to do that. Yes, this is something it can be done. Actually, it's the easiest part. All right. So from our side, for example, implemented the networking among GPP ambassadors. Perfect. Let's move on to the next question. Now it's about activities. Thank you. So are you interested in the activities we plan for Transnational Network? It means the meetings, the thematic session, the exchange, and the active laboratory, and at the end, the lunch, the wrap-up, final meeting at the EUSAIR with the institutionalization of the transnational network, so showcasing what we've done at the ministerial level, at more broader level, because this moderate interest. Okay, great. It could be done better, for sure. Maybe it could be interesting having at the end, exactly, okay, it's growing moderate interest, even understand why and how it could be done in a different way to get you more involved and to plan activities that could be more, it could fit better your needs. Still a few moments. Nevertheless, it's good that none of you has answered not interested at all. This is a good feedback. Okay.
If I may,
Sure.
those of you that have not scanned the QR code yet, please feel free to do so. This is your chance to shape the transnational network, make it beneficial to all of you, and actually shows that your voice matters also for the next activities. So please feel free to scan it and use your use your voice as you should. Thank you.
These activities are meant to be for you. Okay. Few seconds, and then we move on to the next one. There are much worse than these questions, that need your engagement. Get ready. All right. Now, we want you to please think of a word that could represent the way how we can improve the network structure. So you can state a simple word, for example, or even two words: collaborative approach, more collaboration, co-elaboration, collaboration, great, continuous follow-up, all right, something that doesn't end as soon as we salute ourselves at the end in May, of course. This is the goal, the main goal. Relationship, absolutely. Guidance and synergy. Guidance, it's very interesting. We think that guidance will imply, for example, something practical you may need. Synergies. So first of all, we can say even between synergies and collaboration in a matter of daily activities could be communication, because we need to have each other's contacts and we need to communicate, so to work together and to better structure common works, common challenges. So absolutely, transfer of knowledge. Practicality, something practical, not again frontal teaching, something that could just, because yes, the problem is that the mentor or the speakers not, just communicate a message, present you something, and then they just, okay, that's it, good for you. No, this would be something that would be practical. This is one of the aims. Sustainable goals, absolutely. We are all about sustainability. Mutual support, mutuality, yep. Learning, okay. Real life examples. What we are going to present you are all real life examples. I mean, these are all real cases that we ask our stakeholders, our transnational network partners, so to you actually, to tell us, to tell more about them, and to be pleased the presenter, because they knew exactly something that could be interesting. For example, it could be like to understand the process, how, for example, they overcome a challenge. What was the main challenge, and in which moments of the chain, the supply chain happened to be, and how it has been solved. Know-how, peer-to-peer, absolutely. You get a lot of optimism. I agree. Circularity, so something more about circularity. Okay. Synergies and learning. Oh, learning came up. So learning process, it's very interesting. Let's wait still 1 second, because you're very active in this format. So I leave you still all right. Open to doubts. Open to doubts challenges. Absolutely. If you have any doubt, for example, you can be critical, like to the speakers. You must, I don't want to say challenge them, but be, yeah, a little bit like, okay, fine for you walked in that way, but in my case, in my single case, it was very difficult to overcome. It could be difficult for this and that reason. Absolutely, it can be very, very, very helpful to address such thing. Learning synergies, synergy, so accumulate to synergies, and collaboration. So you feel the need like to work together. That's great, anyway. Standardized definitions. Okay, something that could be understandable for everyone and could be a common thing for the region. Okay, I think we can move on. Great, anyway, this is the kind of feedback we would like to have. So the word cloud, the slide worked perfectly. Now, before answer, take just one moment. Please do not answer immediately, because this is a ranking question. It means that you will pick your favorite topics and best practices that have been proposed to you, but you will have the chance to rank them. So if you like, for example, the best practice from University of Padova, so circular textile and furniture procurement, you could select as the first one. And then the second one would be, for example, something that you liked or you also liked, but a little less. For example, the one from Novo Miesto municipality. The Green Tanda Co-Design Laboratory is the interactive laboratory. It's a different way to call it, because it would be a co-design with you. So it will be something you will do along with the speakers. So please go ahead, answer, and rank your favorite best practices.
So sorry, I just quickly jump in now just to say that unfortunately I have to leave due to some academic commitment, but I'm leaving you to the excellent hand of the forum. So I'm not worried about it, but thank you once again, all of you, for joining us today. And I'm really looking forward to see you again soon and collaborating for the next activities of this network. So thank you and have a great interactive session.
Thank you, Matilda.
Ciao.
Thank you, Matilde. Bye.
She's leaving, but she will be with us again. Don't worry. All right. Of course, we kind of expected that the interactive laboratory would have been one of the most ranked. So we're very happy about that, because we are very interested in doing. And like you said, for example, you propose to do more. We can even think of doing something similar, something, for example, for the next sessions. We are working on it, so we can explore new dynamics to work more on interactive laboratories. Okay, Novo Mesto municipality, so the circular everyday. This is very, it's about more circularity. It's a more wider topic, so perfect, very interesting. Public building energy retrofitting, it's like, yes, all the furniture and everything that needs to be for regenerate a building with a more greener standardized patterns. So, all right. This is a ranking moment, so I leave you more few seconds, a few moments. Mm-hmm. eco-paper, plastic restriction, and green IT procurement. These are, as you said, this is just ideas we found among our networks, and this is what we'd like to propose you. But spoiler again, you will have the chance to propose something else. But right now, we would like to understand what's interesting for you. Think of your daily life, your daily work life, for example, in public procurement. So how often do you encounter certain topics? So do you find interesting, for example, for a tender where we can implement environmental criteria? Okay, it seems we have our responses, and the winner so far is the interactive laboratory. Then we have the circular everyday purchasing, the reuse and recycling of Miasto municipality, and eco-paper, plastic restriction, and green IT procurement from region of Western Greece. Great. Perfect. Let's move on. Now, again, a word cloud slide. Suggest us unmapped sectors or topics. Whatever comes to your mind, whatever you find interesting, it could be helpful, like new topics, new sectors, something that we didn't cover, but could be interesting to include in our meetings. Even think about future meetings, not only the one we presented, about what you would like to cover in the transnational network, something that is related to the output itself, so to the network itself, not to the meetings necessarily. We can work on it, and we can do food sector. Great, something I expected because we didn't have best practice. So perfect, interesting. Even if you want to specify, perfect, ICT, perfect. If you want to specify something like a certain kind of equipment, a certain kind of waste management, for example, upcycling, recycling in a certain sector. Cleaning products, fashion industry. There are a lot of possibilities exploring these sectors like food and fashion industry. Defining green products, right? Something that give you definitions like, okay, what is actually a green product? How do I understand that it is a green product? How do I list them, for example, in a catalog of products? All right, great. Tourism, all right, something related to tourism. Exactly. Not only topics, but sectors. For the tourist sector, something that can be applied specifically in a tourist environment. Great. Wine, gastronomy, tourism, very specific and very interesting. For example, there is all the bio wines, and there are a lot of projects, for example, regarding these thematics of bioproducts. Risk management, tourism sector. Okay, we merge with tourism, great. Green certificates, I think we can merge with green areas. No, where was it? I lost it, but still. Green definitions, green standardized products, green with definition itself of what is green. Fuels, interesting, fuels.
Να κάνω μια ερώτηση. Σίγουρα κάπου έχετε λακ για τα μαλλιά, αλλά δεν τη βλέπω.
Please switch off your microphone.
Την ψάχνω.
Thank you, Constantina. Thank you. Behavior change, something we should all talk about. Behavior change, absolutely. What we do in our everyday life, it's very important, and sometimes it affects much more. All right. Due to time concern, I think we can move on because I took too much of time at disposal. So this is very important, and we kindly ask you to be a little faster. Which case studies from outside, let's say, region be useful to you? Exactly. We want to know, are you interested, for example, in exploring case studies outside of the Adriatic-Ionian region, from countries where maybe green public procurement is much more implemented, it's much more mature, so you will have the possibility to have an exchange with realities from, I don't know, Baltic countries, northern countries, Western countries, France, Spain, Portugal, these kind of realities. You are very interested, very interesting for us anyway, because so far you've seen that there are a lot of Adriatic-Ionian best practices. So we stayed in the region. Maybe it could be interesting to have more from outside. Great. Few moments. Okay. We can move on. The answer is yes. At the end of the network activities, what would be the most valuable outcome for you? Again, you can rank, pick the one you want among the options we listed, and rank them. A contact directory is a contact list. Practical toolkit, as we encountered, it's very interesting because you talk about practicality, something that could be useful. Great. Collection of best practices. So at the very end, you want to have a range of options. Tender templates, intuitive. An online community, it's something we are doing right now. Practical toolkit. Again, okay. Newsletter, okay, not that much, fair enough. If you answer order, it would be interesting to have a little moment of confrontation. What you can tell us. And remember, after this session, you will receive an email. If you want, for example, during the presentations of my colleagues, this presentation, you encounter something interesting, or you have something to say, but again, because of time constraints, we didn't have the chance to address, to cover, and you want to communicate. It could be, for example, another best practice you have and you would like to propose a specific case. You can do that. Write an email, answer the email, and write whatever comes to your mind. We are very, again, open to collect as much feedback as we can. And don't be shy, share whatever are your thoughts. We will take into consideration, absolutely. Thank you. So far, collection of best practices went. So a wide range of best practices which can help us to better structure our work, our knowledge, and our adaptability to different contexts. Great. Standard templates of something practical that goes along with practical toolkits. It could be a sort of guideline that help us, okay, understand, for example, definition of green criteria. A toolkit, a template where is listed what is actually green criteria. An online community, it's still a good result because this is what we're doing. So we're doing good. Let's move to the next slide. Why are you joining the network today? Very easy. You can pick order if the alternatives were listed are not the one you thought. If you think differently because you are joining for a different reason, you can pick order. Don't worry about it. To find practical tools. Okay, so again, something usable. So we have a continuity among all the slides. To stay updated, it makes sense because we said we don't want something to die. We want something to be in place and to be a long life thing. Great. To learn from all the experiences, peer exchange. I'm updated. Interesting. Thank you. You value our job. Very, very, very interesting. Thank you. To learn from other experiences, absolutely. To find practical tools, these are the three. To contribute to future projects is very interesting anyway. It's very interesting because we will ask you how you would like to contribute in the next question. So we'll ask you to please even tell us how you would like to contribute. And exactly, do not think as a transnational network as something that still exists, that exists today and tomorrow it will die. We would like to be implementing this as an output again, as a result, something concrete in the time, and maybe it could be useful for future projects. So we will meet again. We will meet again, but maybe under a different project, under a different, not thematic, but something around circularity, public procurement, and environmental criteria. Okay. To learn from older experiences, it's the one that has been ranked the most. To find practical tools, perfectly understandable, so in line with practicality, and to stay updated. Great, perfect. Let's move on. As I said before, how would you like to contribute to the network? Simple answers. Tell us, again, if you want to do after, beyond the project, or you want to contribute concretely during these phases. Again, you want to propose best practice, you want to be more actively involved. Feel free to share with us. Sharing experience, active participation. So be more active. Perfect. Synergies with our projects. Great, very interesting. We can work on that. Absolutely. This is one of the most important aims, I would say. We are about to end our interactive session, so don't worry. Be with us. Be with us till a little longer, and then we will leave you, I promise. Collaboration. Okay. You would like to contribute through collaboration, through more collaboration. Be active part of the network. Have regular meetings. Absolutely. To meet the needs to keep the transnational network alive. Research for good practices during the project. Perfect. Very interesting. Very interesting. You can, for example, reply to our email like, yes, I'm the one who answered research of best practices because I would like to participate in it. I would like to be involved. Absolutely. That's very good for us. It's a very good help for us. EU-level projects networking. Okay. For example, EUSAIR forum, this will be a moment of networking. This will be a moment where we can meet what the network has to say and has achieved with the European level institutions, with the European level members, and share with them, even talk about, okay, let's do something more. Let's do something concrete for us as a region. Build consortia to apply to European or other donors funds. Interesting, absolutely. Know how about good practices, collaborate synergies. Absolutely. Share stakeholders and beneficiaries. Okay, perfect. If you are, for example, interested in involving stakeholders or subjects who could be interested in being part of the transnational network, you can propose, you can list them, you can tell us more about them, and we can include them in the newsletter, we can include them in these meetings. We are open, for example, to the involvement of those who provide services and goods, so enterprises. Be aware of this. Okay, I think, Deb, what do you think about it? do we have still more time, or?
I think that
You're
we're
done.
approaching to the end. So
Right.
if this is the last question, I would thank you, everyone. I don't know, Alessio.
I think we
Okay.
should end
Okay.
this session
We've
once again.
collected all the feedback, so we're very grateful for this.
Yeah.
Thank you. So thank you all for your active participation, and thank you, Alessio, for leading this discussion.
My pleasure.
Your feedback today has already given us valuable ideas that will help us shape the next thematic meetings and the future development of the network. So thank you. As we approach the end of our first joint meeting, I'd like to invite Eleonora Tramannoni, Secretary General of the Forum of the Adriatic-Ionian Chambers of Commerce, to close today's session with a summary of key takeaways and a look at what comes next. So, Eleonora, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Deborah. I promise I'll be brief. You already listened to many presentations this morning, so I'll just leave you with a few final thoughts, so I promise. So first of all, let me thank all my colleagues for today's excellent work, and of course, all of you for taking part, actively part, to this first meeting of the Transnational Network. I think today's participation confirmed something very important. There is a willingness to continue the dialogue and to create opportunities for exchanging experiences across our region. As you have seen today, we have presented a roadmap for the coming months. However, as you might understood, we don't see it as something fixed. So we see it as something like a starting point that we will evolve together with you. And as Alessio mentioned earlier, if during the coming months you come across interesting experiences, successful procurement practices, innovative ideas, or even common challenges that you believe deserve to be discussed within this network, so please share them with us. Your feedback will help us to shape future meetings and ensure that this network remains relevant, practical, and of course useful for everyone. I also believe that the timing of this initiative is particularly significant. The recent inclusion of the green public procurement in the EUSAIR Skopje Ministerial Declaration confirms that the topic is becoming increasingly important for the future of macro-regional cooperation, and this gives us a great opportunity and also a shared responsibility to work together and contribute in a practical way to this common objective. So, over the coming months, we will continue meeting, learning from one another, and building this network together. And I hope that by the time we will meet again in the next EUSAIR Forum in Trieste, we will be able to show not only the activities we have carried out, but above all, the ideas we have shared, the connection we have built, and the concrete results that we have emerged through this community. And of course, as the Forum of the Adriatic-Ionian Chambers of Commerce, we are particularly pleased to contribute to this process by coordinating the transnational network. So thank you once again for your participation today. So we look forward to seeing many of you again at the first thematic meeting in September. So have a wonderful day and of course a wonderful summer.
Okay, thank you very much, Eleonora, and thank you all for your participation and valuable contributions today. We'll be in touch soon with the presentation slides, the recording of today's meeting, and a short follow-up. In the meantime, as we've already said, if you have any questions, suggestions, or ideas you'd like to share with us, please feel free to write us by email. We'll be very happy to hear from you. So we look forward to seeing many of you again in September. Until then, thank you again and have a wonderful day. And goodbye, everyone. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
troppi dettagli dove non trovo.